welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading. What that is every week I go ahead and choose 3 tarot or oracle decks, and you, the watcher, get to choose which deck you would like to be for your reading. And what I do is I go ahead and just throw some cards to see what the general energies would be for the next 7 days. Today's reading would be for April 25th through May 7th. And again, this is just a general reading. I always like to think of cards as just kind of a storytelling game. I look at the images and I try to discern, what symbolism the cards are reading. It is meant to be for entertainment purposes only, and we have a saying in card reading. We always say, take what resonates and leave the rest. So if you feel like the message is not resonating, by all means, maybe look at the cards and see what depiction that you get from it, or maybe choose a different deck. Or it's possible that this week might not have any messages for you. But I definitely encourage you to check out any other readings on my channel. Either that, or quite possibly, I always say that all of my readings are what they call universal. It doesn't have to be the last week of April 2024 for it to resonate. If you feel drawn to another card, pick a card or pick a pile. There might be messages contained for you. So this week I wanted to do something kind of special. The last 2 weeks I had been kind of going with oracle decks. Over Easter I did the animal oracles, and then last week I did earth oracles in honor of Earth Day, and I was really excited to do that. That was a fun kind of divergence from the norm. And it's so funny, last week when I think it was deck 3, one of the images was a mountain goat. And I kept saying, oh, okay, you might not see a mountain goat, but you might. And guess what I saw today? I saw a mountain goat, like with full antlers, with horns, the whole 9 yards. And then, and it was funny, I also saw a deer, which was in pile 1 from the week prior. So I definitely, sometimes I will, after a few days have passed, I'll go through and pick a deck with you. So now I know which piles were mine. But I hope you enjoyed, and those were definitely kind of fun, different type of readings, and we will be doing that more as moving forward. I do also like to do national days. If a national day comes around, I'll do a special reading for that. So if you enjoy those kind of pick a pile, pick a read, please let me know. And then, so today I'm going to get back to kind of basics. Because we had done Oracle in the previous 2 weeks, I'm going to go ahead and make all 3 decks tarot. The first deck we're going to go with is the Vice Versa Tarot. And with it, I have paired a Dalmatian Jasper. And it's a really pretty stone. The one thing with the Vice Versa Tarot is that there is no formal card back. The back of the card is considered to be the inverse of it. So so on the top of the deck we got our man, the Emperor. But just for that deck only, there is no card back. It's just there's images on both sides of the cards. In the middle deck, we have kind of a mini deck. We have the Zillich Tarot, which is a really beautiful watercolor kind of deck. And paired with it, I have a really beautiful, I still haven't figured out what stone this is. If anybody knows, please tell me. And but it's a beautiful kind of sea green stone. I know it's might even be an aquamarine. I'm not quite sure. But the last deck, we went ahead and went with the Linestrider Tarot. It had been a while since we'd used our Linestrider. Ooh, Magician. But it's a beautiful kind of pen and ink with watercolor kind of deck. And then paired with it, I've got I know this deck. I'm sorry, I know this stone. It's a really beautiful kind of clear blue. And it is it's going to come to me the moment I stop filming. I will try to put it up on the video. But it's a really beautiful, I believe it's a rainbow quartz, but it's got more of a blue tinge to it. but that's going to be deck number 3. To help clarify today, I got a new deck that I'm absolutely obsessed with. It's kind of a smaller playing card size. Now, this is not tarot, but it's what we call, it's really got kind of a, it's by Scarabeo. And it is the Gypsy Oracle cards, and I know that sounds so woo-woo, but all it is that it's just like any of my Oracle decks. It has like really great keywords, and you know, like you see friend, you see sweetheart, you see messenger, soldier, haughtiness. You know, it's got some good clarifiers in here, and I've been playing with this deck constantly, you know, and as you see, I make bags for all of my decks too, and I made a bag for that one, so it's my latest thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull 1 or 2 cards from that to help clarify our weeks, so just to kind of change it up. But I will go ahead and stop blabbing, and I'll let you choose your deck. Please choose from your intuition. If you need more time, please feel free to pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. I did also want to say this is the first video when I'm using with my new microphone. Please let me know how you like it. The last couple weeks I've been playing with, you know, just kind of, you know, working with it to kind of see how it works. So please let me know if you think the sound quality is better. All right, so deck number 1, we have the Dalmatian Jasper, which is really a gorgeous stone. It's one of my favorites. It's very different. It's just like spots and browns and grays and blue and blacks. And it's, again, one of my favorites. But let's go ahead and see. So deck number 1, vice versa. What is the energies for your week? Wow, okay. Middle of the week, please. And end of the week, please. Wow, we got some powerful cards there. Emperor's still on top. Emperor's always on top, right? He never waffles. Okay, so what is a card to describe the energy of our week? Oh, you saw that, right? Flip. Oh my gosh, guys. Wow. I'm sorry, I do also have the camera at a slightly different angle. I hope you might be seeing me a little bit. And you're seeing Bob, the houseplant. Oh, can you see Bob? There's Bob. But we're going to be, again, we'll be working with the video layout soon. All right, guys, so let's jump right into it. Stop blabbing. Now, the beginning of the week, wow, guys, the beginning of the week, you got the 7 of Wands. And oh my goodness, we just had a tarot. I think it was yesterday, or no, I'm sorry, it was just this week. It was this last Tuesday. We had a tarot on the 7. So if you get a chance, it's right here in my playlist if you want to check it out. But remember how we said the 7 of Wands is that King of the Hill energy. It's in this deck, you have someone who's depicted more like a soldier. He has a little bit of armor, which, you know, typically the 7 doesn't have that much armor. They tend to be kind of a younger person who's maybe has a little less advantage in that department. They don't have as much, you know, to defend themselves with. And here, what I think is interesting is in this deck, the wands are at his feet. It's not like, it's normally in the 7 of Wands, you can kind of see that you don't see the hands coming up. You know, you don't see the hands holding the wands, but you see definitely that the wands are like moving. So you assume that there are people, or there's, that's one other really good interpretation that we did not bring up in the 7 of Wands, is that, you know, you don't really see the hands. It's not necessarily people. It's not really human beings that are coming at you as you're defending your hill. And it's definitely really, you know, that was one other thing that we didn't talk about in the 7, that I, you know, kind of thought about it in hindsight, is that it really is the card of kind of protesting. Like if you know, if you are standing up for a cause that you believe in, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here, is that I'm getting the vibe at the beginning of the week you're standing up for a cause that you believe in. And it's here, it really almost looks like it almost looks like you've tamed the competition for now, right? For now. Because it definitely you see that the Seven of Wands, and we talked about it too in the How to Tarot, is that you have to remain vigilant. So there's something that you've kind of, there's a situation that you've gotten in check, but you have to remain vigilant to keep it in check. And it's almost like at any minute the tables can turn, right? So there's something going on in the beginning of your week that has that kind of energy to it. It's you've tamed the beast, but you still have to defend your hill, right? You still have to defend your turf. And right under it, you got Judgment. And underneath, and Judgment is a powerful card. It's Major Arcana. And in this deck, it's really, really got a lot of imagery there. You see the angel, the blazing angel. And in this deck, I'm really not quite sure what angel, or it almost looks like an Egyptian god. But you see the same, the people, the man, the woman, the child standing before Judgment, right? So I really do get the feeling like there must be some kind of situation going on. You maybe might be feeling judged, or I just get the feeling like it's some kind of situation that you have under control for now, but I am getting kind of a feeling like you're in the hot seat, right? I'm just seeing all this gold and thinking, gosh, okay, I'm in the hot seat for something, right? The other vibe that I'm getting is that maybe something just happened recently. There was some kind of fallout or some kind of serious situation, and you did the best damage control that you could do, right? You did you ever have those situations where you were like, I didn't, and again, the Seven of Wands is definitely a novice energy. It isn't to say that you don't know what you're doing. It's just saying that you were put into a situation that one of the themes that we talked about in the How to Tarot was, and please feel free to watch it. I think it's going to really pertain to you at the beginning of this week. But I think what it's saying is that you were put into a situation, that really it challenged you to step up, but it was a situation where you really didn't have the most, you didn't have the resources or the training or the knowledge to handle it in the best way possible, but you did your best, right? That's the other vibe that I kind of get from that. It's like, it's almost like I am getting kind of a protester vibe, like, okay, I got thrown into the pool, told to swim, I did the best that I could, there was still fallout, there was still something didn't go over well, but so it's almost like, you're saying, okay, look, it is what it is. I did the best that I could do. There were damages, but there was not. You ever have one of those situations where there was like equal damages and equal, salvages, so to speak? Like maybe you salvaged as much as you could given the circumstances, but then there was still loss, or there was still damages, or still something. So you definitely feel like judged, or you feel like some kind of day of reckoning is coming, and it might be towards the early week. Now, I'm not seeing this is Judgment and not justice, so I'm not seeing any legal, like I don't think anybody's like trying to like sue you or anything, but I do see that you're going to feel like you're kind of in the hot seat. You're going to feel like you're defending yourself, but I definitely am seeing a situation that you feel passionate about, and it's almost like you are the underdog in this situation. You're being kind of put in a hot seat, but for right now, you've got it under control, and you're going to stand up for what happened. You're going to say, look, this is what happened. I did the best I could do. But you are definitely going to feel judged, and there might be some kind of moment of truth. And yeah, but again, the other thing is that the Judgment card is a resurrection. It's kind of coming back from the dead. So this could be this could be the conclusion of a situation that occurred previously. Maybe you are being, called to explain a situation, and when you are gonna you're going to explain it the best way that you can. And I do kind of get a feeling like you're going to be vindicated a little bit. You're going to be vindicated, at least in your own mind, even if it's not to a total resolution. You're going to state your piece. But I do get a feeling of David and Goliath here too, though, because you see the person is going up against 6 wands and he's holding his ground, but then it's almost like you're looking up at this greater force, and it is. But there's a lot of phoenix energy here too, a lot of golds, and I think if anything, if there is any type of reprimand that's going to come out of this situation, it's only going to make you stronger. It's going to kind of, forge you, baptism by fire is what I'm hearing. Gosh, guys, but I do see good energy there though too. I don't see, I'm not seeing any defeat. We didn't get the 6 of Wands, but we're not getting any defeat either. Now, by the middle of the week, you got the 3 of Wands, but you got it in reverse. And the 3 of Wands, and gosh, guys, look at how much, I just want to make note that look at how much desert energy is in these cards. Like in the background of if you can see this, in the background of the 7 of Wands, and then at the feet of the people who are in Judgment, it's all crackled, dry, desert ground. Then look at the feet of the 3 of Wands in reverse. The 3 of Wands, we had a tarot not too long ago too, but the 3 of Wands in reverse is, it's almost like it's waiting for ships that you feel like aren't coming in, right? I almost get this feeling like you're being held responsible for a lot of things, but for some reason it just feels like the rewards of your labor is just not forthcoming. It's just not coming in. I am getting a little bit of a martyr energy from this. The other thing is that you see in both the 7 and in the 3, he's wearing a red cloak. And look, the Emperor wears a red cloak too. It's a very Aries kind of energy. But here, I do feel like you're leading. I think the reason that you're staying in whatever situation you are is so that you can lead others. That's the thing about the 3 of Wands, is that it's a leading by example card. But when you see all this dry land and you see him staring out, it's almost like he's wandering through the desert, and he just feels like the rewards of this labor is not taking him anywhere. And it does feel, I am getting a little bit of a futility card here. Now, so you basically feel like you're taking a lot of risks and you're dealing with a lot of accountability. That's the other thing that I'm getting, is I'm feeling a strong accountability. And it's almost like you're trying to step up and you are the leader, but it's almost like you're taking the risk that no one else wants to take. It's almost like, for lack of a better word, it's kind of the crap job. And I'm not trying to say that what you're doing is not worth it, but I just think that by the middle of the week, you're just going to feel like you're shouldering a lot. You're dealing with really strong energies. And by the middle of the week, you're just going to be like, okay, well, when is the reward for this going to come in? Is kind of the feeling. Like, okay, I'm standing firm, I'm standing tall. The other thing that I'm kind of getting is like, okay, when is this pressure going to lift? It's like, okay, do you ever, it's like, okay, how much more desert do I have to go through, before this eases up? And of course we are, as of right now, we're really in the thick of a lot of world events that are still haven't come to culmination yet. So we definitely, it could be the feeling of that too. Like you might have a whole lot of extra work, and it's a lot of, work and no recognition, either that or maybe possibly a little browbeating. There's a lot of people who have to handle things in kind of off the cuff ways right now. I know for a fact that there are a lot of businesses that are affected by what's going on in the world, health scares and everything, that the way that we do things has to be completely, there's no instruction manual to tell us how to do these things. And so mistakes will happen, but in that same vein, it's like, how much longer do you have to continue? If you do have people who are making those independent decisions and being strong and being leaders and forging a path when there's absolute chaos going on around them, how much longer do you have to play that role, or when will it end, is kind of the feeling. And it isn't so much that you're begrudging it, it's just, I think that you are feeling the pressure of it, like, okay, how much longer does it have to be this way, and can I handle it being this way? It just definitely feels like your ships aren't coming in, that things are not getting better, and it's upsetting, because you're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to fight the good fight. Now, by the end of the week, you got the Seven of Swords in reverse. You got the Seven of Swords in reverse. And the Seven of Swords is that in the upright, it's the person who you see sneaking away from a camp, carrying a bunch of swords, right? And it looks like he's about to be caught, right? Now, the Seven of Swords in reverse is almost like seeing this angle from the person who's, walking away, like like he's about to get caught, right? Now, the thing that I can think of is that this is going from a 6 to a 7. It's going 6, 3, 7. But I do think that if there was some kind of, avant-garde action that you needed to take, I think it's really opened your eyes to the way that things are. The other thing about Judgment is it's a calling. It's like, for lack of a better term, I always call it the wakey wakey card, wakey wakey, eggs and bakey, it's kind of like the wake up, okay, you kind of see things for the way things really are. And when you have that energy, you fighting the good fight, and then it's calling for you to wake up, and then in the middle of the week, you have that energy of feeling like this is futile. The 7 in reverse, and there are no bad cards in tarot. A lot of people get nervous when they see something like a 7. It's like, okay, it is notoriously known as the thief card, but the 7 in reverse means it's the opposite of that energy. I think what it is that what you're doing is really, really hard, but you don't want to be the thief in the night. You don't want to continue doing this, but you refuse to walk away. It's almost like you refuse to give up the fight. You don't want to be that thief. You don't want to be the person who gets caught sneaking away. So it's almost like by the end of the week, you're thinking, well, I just have to kind of suck it up and deal. But you're not exactly happy, and you can't continue at this pace, but it is almost like you're doing the honorable thing. And the other thing that I'm thinking here is that you might have the opportunity, like it could be that, kind of like, I'm sorry, lack of a better word, take this job and shove it kind of feeling, okay, I've been working really hard. No one's recognizing what I'm doing. I'm coming up with unique solutions to really crazy and chaotic problems. And, what's stopping me from just picking up my swords and, going to some place that's going to appreciate me? But here with it being in the reverse, it's saying, no, I'm not going to do that, right? Yes, this might be some crap. I'm not going to lie. This could be some crap. But you're gonna say, okay, maybe if anything, I'm kind of getting a vibe of, okay, let me stick it out a little bit longer. You might be debating it in your head. You might be saying, okay, is this what I want to do? Is this worth it? But the other thing that I think you're going to be thinking of is that we are in unusual times. It's normally never like this. And if you are an essential worker and you're thinking, God, this is just, I'm in Hades. This is not right. I'm stressed out. I'm tired. I'm being blamed for everything. Whatever. you might be saying, okay, you know, I don't want to be that person who just cops out. You know, that's not me. I'm going to stick it out. But I do think that you're considering it, like it is that little whispering thought in the back of your head, like, okay, do I need to put up with this, right? Now, the last thing that you got is the card you got is you got widower. And you see this person putting it's a widowed man, and it looks like he's putting a crown of flowers on a gravestone. Now, I'll first off say that, again, living with the times that we have, I do pray. I do pray that this does not involve any type of loss of someone. And I am so sorry for anyone who is experiencing, you know, if anybody is sick, please, I pray that you feel better soon. These are very scary times, and everything that's happening in the world is just, it's so traumatic. But it is the vibe that I'm definitely getting, the general intuition that I get from this card is not so much of a loss, because other cards don't really support that. I don't think that, you know, you might be impacted by other aspects of what's going on in the world. But widower, I'm almost getting a feeling like maybe you had some kind of ideal about your employer, or an ideal about a relationship, and these experiences, what you've been going through, you know, you having to fight all the time, you having to wait, and it seems like the boons of your labor are just not coming, and you thinking, okay, do I want to do this? Is this what I signed up for? It's almost, I think I'm getting a feeling like it's almost like you're mourning the loss of your anticipation of what this was supposed to be. This was supposed to be so much better than what it's turned out to be, and it's really testing you. And again, it's opening your eyes, right? And you're questioning your purpose. And I think it is changing you. But again, I feel like widower, I do feel like you're almost mourning. And the fact that it's coming out right under the 3 in the reverse, it's like, I think you're accepting the fact that you're going to have to let go of some kind of goal that you had, because it's, and I'm getting a feeling like you don't want to quit. You're no quitter. You got Emperor on top. You got all this red everywhere. You don't quit. And especially on something that you had imagined to be, you know, so good. But I do think that you're walking through a desert right now, and you're not reaching water. I do think that you'll stick with it. I don't think that you want to do anything dishonorable, but it's almost like that little voice in the back of your head, and that voice might be kind of loud by the end of the week. But, you know, I would say that especially with the Judgment, that's the one major arcana in the spread. You know, definitely listen to whatever calling. If something is telling you that you might, you know, sometimes, you know, journeys are journeys, and sometimes it's a matter of just going slightly on a different path, and then sometimes it is, you know, turning around and, you know, going back. But, you know, I would say your instinct would tell you what the best choice to be is, and you might be making some tough choices by the end of the week. But all right, guys, so I hope that you have a good week, and I do hope that you stay safe. And I'll go ahead and I'll just put your card right underneath there. And let's move on to pile number 2, deck number 2. I've been doing so many piles, I'm starting to call them piles now. Deck number 2. And again, it's this beautiful, it might be an aquamarine, possibly. And we've got the Zillich Tarot. I like this deck. It's a very pretty watercolor. And let's see how I'm just going to do a quick shuffle, and we will see, let's see how shuffling comes out on the microphone. See if it picks it up. Okay, so deck number 2. What's the energy of your week? Ooh, you saw that. Oh, you got my all-time favorite card in this deck. Middle of the week, please. What's the energy? Did we have another flipper? No. Okay, I'm seeing things. Middle of the week. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, guys. We might have a common denominator card here. Well, we'll deal with that in a minute. Sorry. Just getting distracted. And then end of the week, please. 3 majors and a Princess of Cups, which is the Page of Cups. All right, let's go ahead and see. What's our theme? Love. Wow, you got the love cherub. All right, guys. Now, first off, you got 3 major arcanas. And so that's, again, I've said in other readings, anytime you see 3 majors, it doesn't mean that you're going to have some kind of paranormal week where things, it's not like a meteor is going to shoot out of the sky and hit you in the head or anything like that. It's not like that at all. The majors usually mean that it means that these are major events that have been occurring probably all throughout your life. Sometimes it can be things that started in childhood. It could be things that started at the beginning of the year. It could be things that started 5 years ago. But it's just kind of like, if you think of a clock, it's almost like the bigger gear turning, and then in turn so the big gear in the clock or the watch turns the smaller gear of your month, which turns the smaller gear of your week, and then the smaller gears of your days, right? So here I just see that this upcoming week, you really have some, and by the end of the week we got the Wheel of Fortune, which definitely, that's a big gear. That's a big gear. Okay, I'm gonna start talking sense now. But at the beginning of the week, you got the High Priestess, and this I did. I participated in the 31 Days of Tarot in January. It's a playlist here on my channel if you get a chance to watch it. But I think it was day 30. But I said, okay, what is your favorite High Priestess card? And this is my favorite High Priestess card ever. And it's just so gorgeous because, first off, she kind of looks very spiritual. She looks like a nun, and then you've got the wave. But the beginning of the week, and you can be a man or a woman, the High Priestess is actually kind of a little bit of an androgynous card. It's just straight spirituality. But the High Priestess, she is the guardian of the conscious world and the unconscious world. She guards things that are known and unknown. And she's the 3rd card of the major arcana. And what it is at the beginning of the week, you're going to feel like you're going to feel like the High Priestess. You're going to feel like you're going to be in a headspace that's very grounded. You're going to kind of have an unconscious, when I see the High Priestess, I almost think, in a lot of spiritual beliefs, they talk about the Akashic records, which is basically, I'm not sure if I completely believe this. I just kind of come across these belief systems, and I read about it and I say, okay, what do I think? Does that resonate? But the Akashic records are really, from my understanding, is it's almost like a dream state. It's like the deep recesses of your subconscious mind. And that's what the High Priestess guards, right? She guards what's unknown and what is known, kind of like the physical world, the 3D, and the spiritual world. And what's believed, or what some people believe, is that some people believe that we have spiritual contracts in this world, in this physical world, that our souls are old and our bodies are young. And what it is that our physical bodies are playing out a role that our spirits have, kind of written for ourselves. We kind of, when we came into this world, we said, okay, we need to learn ABC lessons. We're going to make you a girl. We're going to make you have curly hair, green eyes. You're going to go through and you're going to meet the people that you need, lessons that you have to learn. And it's almost like the High Priestess, she understands it. Even though she is in a human body with a human perception, it's almost like deep within the recesses of her soul and her spirituality, she understands that the bumps, the highs and lows of life, the things that happen in life, are happening for a reason. And when the Akashic records are almost supposed to be almost like the Library of Alexandria, the secret scrolls, it's almost like that's like some kind of subconscious database that's in your dreams, that if you get spiritually enough in tune, you can almost access it. Like you could almost know in the center of your chest, okay, what's happening is this. And she is a lot about flow. It's about going with the flow and knowing, okay, this is happening, it's happening for a cause that's greater than myself. So the other thing that I think is neat about the high priestess is that there's a saying in spirituality that says, take no action personally. It doesn't have, how people always say, it has nothing to do with you. And now sometimes it does have to do with you, but it's part of that contract. It's part of the role that you were meant to play. And, and that isn't to say anybody's putting on masks, but I'm sorry, in the context of your week, the beginning of the week, you're going to be in that zone. You're going to be in that zone. It's almost like you're being yourself, and you're not questioning yourself. That's the beauty of the high priestess. There's no anxiety there. She's not saying, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing this, I'm not making enough money, I'm unhappy. She is in this Zen place of understanding where she is in life, understanding why she's there, and the purpose of it. And I think you're going to be in that energy in the beginning of the week. In the beginning of the week, you're going to kind of be going with the flow. And the other thing that I think is beautiful about the high priestess is that I always kind of see that as a card as that there is no such thing as a small role in life. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to have every luxury. You can be working a regular 9 to 5 hourly, what would be considered, entry level job, and still have the peace and the spiritual enlightenment, the kind of, higher purpose of the high priestess. And that's what I think is gorgeous about that card. So, but basically the beginning of the week, you're going to feel real in the zone. You're going to feel like you know your purpose. And the other thing that I think is gorgeous is that nothing's going to really fluster you. She's very graceful in the fact, and I always say it, the high priestess is the it girl too. We had a tarot on this, and she is the it girl. And what it is she is that character that it's almost like other people look at you and go, why is she so calm? God, just nothing gets to her. You don't question yourself. You don't question others. You do your role. You do you. You understand the higher purpose of it. And people look at you like, God, that's attractive, right? So that's entirely possible too. You might be getting your it on at the beginning of the week. I'm sorry, that sounded bad, but you know what I mean? Like you might be seriously just in that zone where you know yourself. Maybe you're working really hard at work, and you're just, again, you're serving your role, and you understand both sides of the curtain, and people are really going to be looking at you. The other thing is that you might be coming across as a little bit mysterious. If you are single or dating, or even if you're married, I think whomever is looking at you in like kind of a romantic way will go, what is going on in her mind? Because again, it's that allure, it's kind of that mystery, and you're just going to have, to be honest, you're going to have your stuff together. You're just going to have it all together at the beginning of the week. Now, by the middle of the week, and this came out in the first pile, is you got, in this deck they call it Justice, but it's Judgment, right? And what it is you see the trumpet, and you see the golden rays, and you see someone who's almost in black and white, coming up to the golden rays of the sun. Now, I'm just going to hold up these two cards for a minute, because look at that, guys. Holy Toledo. And honestly, I've had this deck forever, and I've never done this before. Look at that. It looks like it is the same scene. And you know what that makes me think of? It makes me think like you're not... I get a real vibe like maybe in the past you might have been sabotaging yourself a little bit. Maybe you were thinking you weren't worthy to something. And all of a sudden this week, you're just not having it. It's almost like, you ever have that feeling? You ever have those times when you're just like, I don't have time for this. I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. And it isn't in a snotty way. It's just kind of like, by the middle of the week, I really do see it as a continuation of this energy, just like the way the two, and I swear that's the first time I've ever done that, held those two cards up together. I've never seen that in those images before. I do think that it's a continuation of this energy. I think you are awakening to your worth, and I do just think that in this piece, and again, it doesn't have to be anything transcensual. It's not like you're finding some kind of new higher purpose out of the blue. I think this has been something that you've been working on for a while, and you're just going to feel these energies in their strength this week. But and you could put it in a modern context too. You could be working, coming home, taking care of the kids, taking care of your spouse, but by the middle of the week you just really feel like I feel like you're finding yourself. And by the middle of the week, you're going to really kind of feel what your calling is. Because the other thing is, judgment is a calling. It's like saying, okay, this is what you are meant to do. So it's entirely possible that, again, we've had some really crazy times now. People are adapting. We're adapting to a new way of working, to a new way of living. And I almost get this feeling like with these changes, you found a lot of balance and inner spirituality, and it's almost like you're coming to life with that now. And by the middle of the week, I think you're really going to be making plans. You're going to be saying, okay, this is what I want, this is what, moving forward, this is what I'm meant to do. And you're going to be really kind of making plans to put that in place moving forward. Now, by the end of the week, and again, these are all majors, this is a real powerful energy week, guys. But you got the Wheel of Fortune. You got the Wheel of Fortune. And I again, remember how earlier I was talking about how, the weekly energy it isn't, when you get majors in a weekly, it isn't like something's going to hit you in the head. It's like the gears of a clock. The big gears, the major events of your life, like buying a home, getting married, getting pregnant, that's the big gear. That's one gear that's gonna, getting pregnant, 9 months later, that gear's gonna turn full circle, and then your life's gonna change again, because when you get a new little one who arrives, it's like, but the bigger gear turns, and then it turns a smaller gear, that's your months, that's a smaller gear, that's your week, that's a smaller gear, that's your day, and then your hours, and then the interactions with people. By the end of the week, I do feel like you're going to feel, it's almost like you're going to get a pulse of those gears turning. And there's something big coming for you too, guys. There's something happening either in your work life or maybe just in your spiritual life that you feel like things are about to change for you. Now, I know, again, all of us are experiencing this health crisis together. It could result in a lot of different things. I think a lot of us might have different jobs. We might have different places to live. We might have a new perspective on how to live. So I do think that all of this plays into that, where by the end of the week, you're really going to see how the gear is turning and where your life is going to go moving forward. Now, the clarifying card that you got was real interesting. You got love. And I'm telling you guys, you got two geese, which is change. In Lenormand, two geese is change and movement. And then you got little Cupid there. So, you know what? Quite honestly, this might very well be related. I'm not seeing a couple other than the two here. But, this, I'm getting kind of either a vibe of either self-love, or this could be a love relationship. But I think that your self-respect and knowing your purpose is really going to make things, it's going to bring you a lot of fortune. And I think that the plans in your head, your week, again, beginning of the week, you're going to feel real level. Middle of the week, you're really going to feel like, okay, when this chaos is over, you're going to know your plan. You're going to have a strong sense of what you want to do, whether that be spiritually working or, whatever makes you happy. You're going to feel that calling. And then by the end of the week, you're going to see how the bigger ski, how you can follow that calling and where it's going to take you, and where it's going to take you is going to be very fortunate. And that's going to be all up in you. That's going to be your mind. You're going to be thinking about the inner workings of that clock And the crazy thing is you're going to understand the inner workings of that clock. And seriously, guys, not many people can do that. And when I say that, and I hope this is making sense, because when I say that you're going to understand the inner workings of that clock, maybe you applied for a job, maybe you're changing jobs, but what you're seeing is you're seeing how this is going to play out. Maybe it does have to do with what's going on in the world. And once all of this settles down and things get back to normal, you think, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get married. I'm going to change jobs. And you're thinking, oh gosh, that's going to turn. By the end of the week, you're going to be thinking, okay, that's going to turn the bigger gear, which in turn is going to turn the smaller gears, and it's going to bring you a lot of prosperity, but I also think it's going to bring you a lot of love. And I think it's going to bring you a lot of self-love too. I'm getting a strong sense of that. You're just going to be happy. You're going to be happy, and you're going to feel satisfied. You're going to feel like you are where you're meant to be. But all right, guys, I know that was a little woo-woo, but I swear to you, with this many powerhouse cards, wow, that's really strong. And I'll go ahead and put your love underneath. And let's put your charm there. Calling it a charm. All right. So deck number 3, we have your blue quartz. And it is, oh, there you go. You see how pretty that is? I'm glad the light caught it. All right. We got the Linestrider Tarot. So let's go ahead and we'll do a quick shuffle, and let's see, what is your energies for the week? Deck number 3. I'm glad we're getting into rotations. I do love the oracle cards, but the tarot's really is a good meat of the reading. Okay, so let's go ahead and see deck number 3. What's your energy for the week? So, beginning of the week, what is our energies? All right. And middle of the week. He was trying to come out a minute ago. Okay, end of the week. I'm going to go ahead and go with these two. Okay, a little clarification. Clarification for deck, please. Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay. I know this seems like a lot of cards, but I'm just going to go with it real quick. I promise it won't take us too long it's just mostly clarifiers. So, all right, guys. So at the beginning of the week, you got the 10 of Cups, and you got it crossed by the Hanged Man. And this is such a neat combination, because the Hanged Man is a blue tiger, and you can see he makes a good Hanged Man, because when you look at him, it's like he does look peaceful, even though he's hanging upside down. He's just kind of staring. He's not panicked. He's not trying to get down, right? So at the beginning of the week, it's so interesting. We're getting such a pensive vibe. I mean, deck number 1 had more action in it, but there's a pensive vibe here of, sorry, I'm getting caught up by your end of the week. But the vibe that I'm getting is that you're kind of, at the beginning of the week, you're really considering about what makes you happy. I always say the 10 of Cups is, and you see these are 2 lovebirds, right? And I think it's so cute because the male bird is wearing a little stocking cap, like he's ready to go to bed or something. It's so cute. These birds look like they're an old an old married couple, and I think that's adorable. I really like that. I'm such a romantic. I always daydream about the notion, about the conversations that you have when you've been in a long-term relationship, and when you're just around each other, when you know each other, right? And that's kind of the vibe that I get, and that's an interesting symbolism when I see this. But it's just kind of like, it's kind of the common courtesies that you give to each other to you or a spouse when you know each other well, when you've been in a committed relationship for a long time. And what it is that the hanged man is looking at a situation from a new angle. He's seeing things in a new way. The hangman is also a pause. It's the refraining from taking any action because you're thinking about something, right? So the other thing I would say is that the Ten of Cups is that happiness that money can't buy. It is that ultimate emotional fulfillment that comes from life. And oh, I didn't get your card. Let me grab this real quick. Sorry, guys. Thank you. We'll let, there's two of them, we'll let it be a surprise. Okay. But it's that fulfillment that money can't buy. And I think what it is that at the beginning of the week, you're going to be pondering, you're going to be thinking about that. I am getting a strong sense, and again, you can be a man or a woman watching this reading. I think you're almost just, again, I've never had that interpretation before, where I think you're thinking about that ultimate joy. And I think you are thinking about that settling down and that happiness. And remember that this is a good marriage. Like, this is a happy union. These are two lovebirds. The lovebirds bond for life. And again, that little stocking cap, it's like it's like you want to be the other part of that couple that's like, sweet dreams my heart, sweet dreams my love, and you're thinking about that. You're thinking about how you can attain that, or what would bring you that kind of joy. Now, the hanged man in reverse is that I think right now that you're unable to take any action towards this. Like, you have an idea or you have a dream of this happy ending, but at the beginning of the week, it's almost like you're pondering it. So I am getting a very strong relationship vibe from this reading, from this week. So you might have somebody on your mind, or this might be dating in general. And again, given world events, we're all kind of self-quarantining at home, so it's not like everyone's being real social. So it's entirely possible that at the beginning of the week, given these circumstances, that you might be dreaming of some kind of future, but you're remaining in a suspended state of, okay, how do I attain that, right? How do I get that happily ever after? And you could read it also in just regular happiness as well, but I am getting a strong kind of relationship feeling from this read. Now, by the middle of the week, you got the Knight of Cups, and he came out twice. If you saw it, he tried to come out with these cards, and then later he came out on his own. So in the middle of the week, I definitely get the vibe, I definitely get the sense. And this guy, he's got kind of a fish overlaid on him. It's kind of hard to tell. The fish is around the knight, but it's a knight that's on a horse, and you're looking at the front of the image. But you're definitely going to be on a mission by the middle of the week. And I'm not getting so much communication from it, but I'm getting an action of love. And it's going to be a very forthright action, because this is not a page. And it's interesting. Later we do come across the King of Cups. Later on we come across the King of Cups. So we'll get into that in a minute. But the Knight of Cups is a person on a mission, and it's definitely a more youthful energy. But basically, long story short, in the middle of the week, it's almost impulsive. I'm getting an impulsive feeling. It's almost at the beginning of the week, you're all up in your thoughts about how you imagine things are going to be, and you're suspended. The other vibe I'm almost getting is that you had planned. I really get the feeling, because the other thing is the hangman came at a cross. It was almost like blocking, right? It was blocking. It was like, it's almost like in your head you were like, don't take action yet. It's not the right time. It's not the right time. What are you doing? It's not the right time. I know you want this. I know you want your stocking cap and your good night, my love. Good night, my heart. Sweet dreams. But, you can't do that right now. And then by the middle of the week, I almost get the feeling like some kind of opportunity, some kind of opening presents itself, and you go for it. Because the other thing is that the Knight of Cups is a very he goes by his instincts, right? And it isn't, and it's not a sword and it's not a wand. It's usually heart driven. So I think that you get some kind of opportunity to take action, and then you know, you just go Tawanda and you start. I think you take some kind of action that's a little bit it's a little bit more forceful because it's the knight, but it's not as thought out as the king. So but I do get the feeling as if you had some kind of opportunity and you didn't want to miss your opportunity, right? So you took your opportunity. And that's going to be towards the middle of the week, and that's really exciting because the Knight of Cups gets a little bit of a bad rep. He does get the reputation of being the Romeo. He can be very hard on his sleeve, but in this context, I definitely think that you just did not want to miss your opportunity, and you were ready to come out of the Hangman energy. Now, by the end of the week, now, I can definitely kind of read this one of two ways because you got a lot. You got what it is this is the root of it. You see all this, this is the root that leads up to. So this is what's happening, but this is the what's going on under the surface as to why this is happening. So at the end of the week, you got the Three of Cups and you got Death. Now, there are no bad cards in tarot, so don't be intimidated by the Death card. All death means is transformation. It means metamorphosis. It also means change. It means change, right? And the Three of Cups, and this is really kind of a cute card because it's a party card. And you got what looks like, I think it's a llama. I can never figure out this animal. I know that's a sloth, and this looks like a baby deer. But the Three of Cups is a celebration, right? Three of Cups can be, now sometimes the Three of Cups can be a third party situation, but here, you know what I'm getting is that here I am getting a celebration vibe, but I'm getting a twofold interpretation of it. And the reason I'm getting a twofold interpretation of it is because underneath the death, you got the Ten of Swords and the King of Cups. And underneath that, you got the Devil and you got the Star. And I know that's a crazy combination. You got two majors going into, and again, there's no scary cards. All I'm seeing is that this action, you got three majors towards the end. This Three of Cups isn't a normal Three of Cups. A normal Three of Cups, it being a minor card, would normally just mean that it would usually mean like something like a party or some kind of celebration with a group of people. But let me go ahead and see your other cards. Yeah. Wow, guys. Yeah, I'm definitely... Wow. Okay, yeah. I think I'm getting a vibe here. And please tell me if this is not resonating, or if this resonates, please let me know. But the Three of Cups is really, I've learned a lot more about it lately, but I'm getting the feeling as if in the past, you might have been a little bit of a social person. Like you might, and again, you can be a man or a woman watching this reading. In the past, you might have been that person that had no strings. Like you did not want to be tied down to anything. And sometimes that energy can make you a little bit lonely. Now, the other thing that I get from that too is that, again, what we're going through now as a planet is really affecting our perception. We never before did we have to worry about. I like, a few weeks ago when a lot of the precautions were beginning, I talked about how isn't it crazy when you start to think, who would I want to take care of me if I were sick? Right? If something were to happen, who would I want to be quarantined with? Who would I want to be there for me? And I think that's almost what you're thinking. It's almost like, I think in the past that you might have been a very social person. Maybe you have an entourage. That's the other thing that I'm kind of getting. Maybe you have a posse of girls or a posse of guys that are kind of your wingmen or your wing women, and that's always been your style in the past. Like maybe you were fine with being single. You were fine with not having any major commitments. And I think now in the beginning of the week you really are thinking about, okay, is who would I want to be quarantined with? Who do I want to take care of me? And you're thinking about that ultimate happiness, and you are taking some kind of action to change the single Romeo guy behavior. Now, the other thing that I'm kind of getting from this is that by leaving this persona behind, if you do decide to kind of get with one person, you might be shaking things up with your community, right? Because what if you were the single guy, or what if you were the single girl? What if you were the kind of leader of your group, right? And then all of a sudden you start getting serious or committed with one person. And they even say this is a psychological dynamic that occurs with men and women. When people start pairing off and people start getting married, it's almost like a group consciousness kind of shifts. But what it is that you're changing, and that's the other thing. You're changing the dynamic of the group. The group is kind of going through a little bit of a death. But instead of it being the three, single guys or the three single girls, instead of it being your posse, it's going to start being, okay, well, the deer showed up with his girlfriend, and then the sloth showed up with, his guy. And that is going through a metamorphosis, right? It's going to change. And what I'm kind of getting is that it might be this action. You might have been one of the posse. You might have been one of the singletons, the leaders of your group. And by you taking that action towards someone, towards getting that lovebird, that settled, good night, dear, sweet dreams, you're going to be sparking off the transition of this metamorphosis. And what's going to happen is, the way that I kind of read it is, one thing is that I do see that you've got the Ten of Swords next to the King of Cups. I kind of read that one of two ways. It's entirely possible that maybe you were real open in your, not open in your relationships, but open with your feelings with people in the past. And maybe you've been stung. Maybe you've really kind of opened your heart and you've been screwed over, for lack of a better word. So that makes you kind of scared. Again, it puts you in the hangman energy. You're afraid to take action because, okay, I've been hurt before. Is this really what I want to do? Do I really want to? It is almost that mindset of like, well, because if you go from being a knight to a king is a very committed person, right? He's a very committed person. The other way that I read this too is that maybe you have recently been through some kind of fallout, or maybe one relationship is breaking down, but you what I'm seeing is with the Devil and the Star, it's almost as if, again, what I'm seeing is the reason that you might have clung to some kind of singleton behavior is because it was a pattern. It was a way of living you were familiar with. But what the Devil followed by the Star tells me is that you understand your patterns very well, and there is hope to change it. Right? You don't have to live any way that you don't want to. You're not tied down by anything. There's always hope, right? The other thing is that, the Ten of Swords and the King of Cups, I do think that you're a very kind person. And I do think that people might have taken advantage of you in the past. Maybe you've been open with your feelings and you didn't get anything receptive from it. But what I'm seeing here is, again, I'm seeing that possibly maybe you were trapped by certain obligations in the past, and again you might have been taken advantage of or hurt when you were open and kind to people. But that all of this past pain is really going to be released, and by transforming, by allowing like a new love to come in, by being brave. That's the other thing, is that the knights are brave. Oh my god, they're almost fearless. They're almost a little foolish in how fearless they are. But it's almost like you're going to feel that liberation, because remember, this is like the root. This is the root of the death. And I think the reason that all these cards came out is it's not to be scary. It's not to be scary with, I mean, the Ten of Swords and the Devil is some scary cards. But what it is that all this is root. You've already been through this, right? What it's saying is that the reason that this feels like a death, and the reason that this doesn't, the other thing is that I feel like you're going to be successful. And that's what I'm getting at. Long story short, I feel like you're going to be successful. I think if you had your eye on someone, maybe you've been thinking, okay, I should ask this person out for coffee. Because the other thing I get is that this kind of looks like a coffee ring. And maybe it's just because I love coffee. Maybe tea. Maybe you ask them out for tea. I don't know. But I know we're all social isolating now. But I'm really thinking that it might be when this is all over. And this is what you're thinking about next week. But you have some kind of opportunity to take some kind of action, and you've really wanted to, and then you go ahead and take that action. And I get the feeling that the Three of Cups is going to be a victory, right? It's going to be a celebration. Maybe this is some kind of group setting. I mean, I don't think that's going to be next week. It's probably going to be next season. But there is going to be a change in the dynamic of your friend circle. And I think it's going to be because of this action that you're working on, or the opportunity that presents itself. But the reason that this does not feel like a celebration, the reason that it feels like this metamorphosis, because you're taking this very seriously, right? This is not light energy. And the reason that it's not light energy is because you are a very open and kind person, and you've probably been screwed over in the past, and you've also felt like if you go for that type of relationship again, that you're going to feel trapped. But what it's telling you is you're not going to feel trapped. You have to get over those fears. And it's almost like, again, we've said the Ten of Swords, it's a culmination. Tens are endings. Tens are the last. 1 to 10, right? 10 is the last. You can't have any more pain from that source. And you are a very kind-hearted person. But, the other thing is when you're acting in a night energy, you've been a king in the past. It's almost like you're reverting. You're and not to say, telling you that you're acting like a kid or anything, but we do that. We regress. That's the word I'm looking for. And we've all done it, right? When you've been the adult and you weren't treated fairly, even though you were being mature, then you feel like, okay, well, if the rest of the world's going to if the rest of the world's going to be a player, let me be a player too. It's kind of like the attitude, let me fight fire with fire. But the energy that I'm getting from this is that you have some kind of opportunity and you go for it, right? You come out of your energy. So recap real quick, you're dreaming about it, but you're still kind of waiting and watching. Middle of the week, you get some kind of opportunity and you go for it. You go for it, and you go for it in an open heart way, which I think is going to feel very liberating for you too, because you're kind of a King of Cups energy. And then I do think that you're going to be successful. It's going to result in a victory and a celebration. But the thing is, it is going to change your friend group. It's going to change your friend group. And it's going to feel like a transformation. It might feel like a little death, but it's almost like a good death. It's like a phoenix kind of rising. And it is going to dredge up a lot of thoughts of the past. Now, your Gypsy cards, you got room. And this one's an interesting one. I've been kind of analyzing. You got room. And you got service. You got service. So, and there's another card in there that says servant. But you got service. So what I'm getting here, and room can mean several different things. When you actually dream of a room, it usually means areas of your psyche. It means areas of, like, if you've ever dreamt that you've been in an attic or a basement, or that you were going up an escalator. Rooms are like kind of really, your brain speaks in symbols. It doesn't speak in English, or it doesn't speak in a language, in any language. It speaks in symbols. So when you see a room, it's almost like that's your psyche, your subconscious explaining to you what you believe that yourself to be. But the way that I see this is, I think that you're trying to make room. I think you're trying to change the way that you live, and I think you're trying to make room for someone else. And the other thing is that I think you are trying, I think that this action, this whatever action you take will be kind of in a service context. I think that's your opening, is that this somebody that you're looking at, you want to make room for this person to come into your life. You want to change your life, and you want to bring them into your room. That's the other thing, is that if you've ever invited someone into your bedroom, it's like, okay, not in a kinky way, but seriously, that's a very intimate thing. You want to let somebody into your space, right? Into your realm, your room. And you see how he's almost opening a door there? And I see that. It's like he's opening the door to this room, right? And doesn't it kind of look like curtains? But I think your opening is going to be some kind of act of service. That's going to be honestly, I'm going to getting the feeling like it's your guys. It's the excuse, like, oh yes, let me do this for you. Let me hey, how you doing? How you doing? And but it being a night, you really are offering your heart, and that's a very beautiful thing, because underneath it all, there's a great song by Shakira that says it's called Underneath Your Clothes. And that's what I kind of feel like here. Underneath your clothes, you might be dressed up, you might have the armor of a knight, but underneath your clothes you have the heart of a King of Cups, which is a very big heart, and you don't show that to very many people. And that's a hard transformation for you, to let somebody into your room. But by the end of the week, I do think that you're going to be making some changes. You might be introducing people to your circle, or you might be telling your circle, look, I'm making this change. This change is for me. But that's a really beautiful week, and despite all this heavy energy, I do get a romantic vibe. And again, guys, the three of cups is a celebration, and I almost feel like, on one last note here, the celebration is other people supporting your choice. So I do think that one other thing is that you might have been afraid, again with Devil and Ten of Swords, I think you might have been afraid to do this. Like you might have been afraid to change your social circle or let anyone in. Either that, or you thought people wouldn't accept your choice, accept your lovebird person. But I really think they will. And honestly, I do get the feeling like your friends will, if opening up and making this change, which is a really metamorphic change for you, I think your friends would be happy for you. And I also think that you're going to get an even greater kind of stoke of excitement seeing how happy your friends are for you. Your friends would be happy that you're happy. All right, guys. Well, that went a little bit long, and I know, but I wanted to that was a lot of messages, but that was really cool. So I'm glad. But all right, guys, so that is your week. There's some pretty interesting energies there. I do hope, if this did resonate, or if anything kind of rang true, I would be very, very flattered if you leave a comment. If you like the content of my channel, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know what you think of the new microphone. If you don't like it, we can always go back to the previous equipment. And we'll definitely be doing some more changes as we go forward. We're going to have 2 posts for next Tuesday. We're going to have the How to Tarot, which is going to be the 9 of Wands. Oh my God, I can't believe we're at 9. And we're also going to do, it's a national day, and I'm going to leave it as a surprise, but it's going to be a real fun one. It's going to be a pick a pile. And if you get a chance, it's a Tuesday, but feel free to swing by and check it out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But otherwise, I hope you have a good week. Stay safe, stay happy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.